Hello, good afternoon. In today's video I just want to quickly show you everything about fridge, refrigerating your cake. I recently got a fridge. I'll be sharing how I shopped for the fridge, what it looks like, the former fridge I was using, which is my house fridge, and every other gist around fridge. So let's get started. My name is Fumi. I am director of a Naija Cakeist and I own Cake Station Canada. I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and after 2 years in Canada, I was able to get my fridge for cake. Now, within the first 2 years, I was using the same fridge we were using in the house. And this is how I managed that also. I'm going to be showing you that fridge and how I was able to, juggle everything together. Back home in Nigeria, I had fridge, but the only kind of cakes that needed fridge back home in Nigeria for me was whipping cream cake. Every other cake that I make, my buttercream was always out of the fridge. My fondant cakes were always out of the fridge. Only whipping cream cakes, what I need a fridge for, and maybe to keep other products like milk, chocolate, and all of that. So majorly, most of my cakes didn't really need cake, because I didn't even do a lot of whipping cream cakes at home. I wasn't doing a lot of whipping cream cakes at home. But in Canada, immediately I moved in, of course, I was looking forward to all of the luxury kind of buttercream, and those ones would be needing fridge. And I know that here, light is not a problem, fridge is not a problem, and I was just going to be fine. So I dropped some of my old recipes, American buttercream, which of course can stay out of the fridge, and I adopted. Can American buttercream stay out of the fridge if you're using butter? Back home we're using margarine. Anyway, I've never used American buttercream yet. I've been using, you can check the link in bio for the buttercream I use. So this buttercream I use has to be in the fridge. And my fondant cakes can stay out of the fridge, but because most of the time I layer the cakes with buttercream and I also crumb coat sometimes with buttercream before the fondant, it necessitated putting it in the fridge also. So most of my cake practically stay in the fridge. On the days that I have lots of cakes and my household food stuff or food items in the fridge, there's a space problem. On such days, I sometimes would make my fondant cakes without so much, maybe very minimal cream in between the layers and very light cream outside, so that I can maybe cover in ganache. Then when I cover in ganache, it's able to stay out of the fridge. But even out of the fridge, I put it in the coldest room in my house. Sometimes I box it and put it in there. I have a room in my house that is quite cold. So if you have an air-conditioned room, your cakes can also stay out of the fridge at room temperature, especially for fondant cakes. My fondant cake can stay out of the fridge if it is coated with ganache. If it's ganache before the fondant, it's going to be fine. So on the days that I'm having space issue, I have to, I don't want to take your time. I hope I'm not doing too much introduction. On the days that I have too much space issue, then I usually would, just mix it up. Sometimes, because of the fridge issue, I'm not even able to start. My cake works. Some days cakes pickups are Saturday, Sunday. I would have loved to start like Wednesday, Thursday, on the days I have a lot of cakes going out that weekend. But sometimes I can't start as early as I would have loved to, because I'll be thinking of where to keep the cake. So some customers have to pick on Friday so that there's space for maybe the Sunday and the Saturday cake. So sometimes it drags me down. I have a particular job that I did, the one where, if you follow me on Instagram, the one SO Popping 50, where I had two big cakes, then I had cake slices, about 100 pieces, and there was no way that was going to fit into my fridge. So at that particular time, I tried so much to get a fridge before that job, but apparently it would take some days for delivery, so the fridge didn't arrive for that job. It was stressful, but I pulled through somehow. So it meant I had to delay my work, plan those jobs very well, so that some cake go out for some cakes to go into the fridge. And the cake slices, I have to make them like midnight so that they can stay outside just at room temperature. So that is how I've just managed myself with just the house fridge. So I knew I was due for a fridge. Now when it comes to fridge, I'll show you the fridge I have in the house just right away. I would recommend that you get the kind of fridge that has freezer up and fridge down. so that your baked cakes can be in the freezer hop, and the frosted cake do not need freezing, they just need to be chill. As a matter of fact, when I'm putting my fondant cakes in the fridge, I have to reduce, is that reduce or increase? When it comes to cold, increase is hot. So I have to make my fridge like the minimum coldness possible, so that when my cake comes out of the fridge, the sweating is not so much. If your fridge is very cold, you bring a fondant cake out of the fridge, even buttercream cake, because there's a change in temperature from the inside of the fridge and the kitchen or whatever you're bringing the cake to, they're going to sweat. If your room is air conditioned and you bring out a cake from the fridge, you will experience minimal or no sweating at all. So, but most of the time our rooms or wherever we work is just, if your room is just normal room temperature, you will likely experience sweating. So people actually, the way to bring things out of the fridge standardly is to move things from the freezer to the fridge, then bring it out. So there's like, it has to be gradual. That's the only way you can control that sharp contrast, which is not good for some of your works. So, but then most of the time there's nothing we can do. We just have to bring it out like that or just find a way. So I'll be showing you my fridge.
Let's start with this old video I posted on Instagram showing how I arranged about 8 cakes into this fridge. Sometimes for those cakes to fit into the fridge, I have to use a different cake board. So even when the final cake board, for instance, is 12 inches, I'll use 10 inches. If the final board is 10 inches, I use 8 inches, just so that the fridge can take as many cakes as possible. Then when it's close to pick up, I reassemble it. I've mastered how to do that. So that is what is happening here. After this video, then you're going to see my fridge currently. I no longer use it for cake works, but I'm going to be showing you what the fridge looks like. This same fridge, what it looks like now, and how I use it. If you watch this video closely, you'll notice that I've had to remove all the food items in the fridge, put them in the lower drawer. Just find a way. Some things have to move up into the freezer just for my cakes to be able to stay, all my cakes to be able to stay inside. And it was really, really stressful, but I just had to make it work. Sometimes some of my food, I repack them into another bowl just so that it can fit into any spare spaces that I have. It was really stressful.
So this is my home fridge. This is what it looks like. It's quite tall. This is the upper part, which is the fridge. Let me take this out. This is the upper part, which is the freezer. Then the bottom part, which is the fridge. My children did all of the designs and I couldn't take that out. Okay, so when I was using this fridge, this is what we have in the house. When I was using this fridge, I was putting my cake in this upper part. I just make sure that I wrap it in cling film, and I was using the space for my cake. So this place can take quite a number of cakes. This fridge is kind of deep and is wide. So this upper part took a good number of my cakes. So I'll just arrange maybe two cakes. My cakes are not usually like, it can take two cakes, like 2 layers of cake. So I put them like that in this upper part of the fridge. Then we still put things for the house in this lower part. Then this is the fridge itself, and if you notice, this is a good height for my cakes. This is like 10 inches or 11 inches tall, this uppermost part. So sometimes I would have to like, keep arranging the food we have in the house or the things in the fridge so that my own cake stuff, my cakes can fit in. This place can take up to like 5 cakes. I'm going to arrange cake boards there for you to picture what it looks like. So this is 10 inches cake boards. You can see that I can conveniently take 4 boards, and if I want to squeeze in an 8 inches board also, it can take a small 6 inches cake on the 8 inches board. If I'm putting 12 inches cake, maybe I can accommodate 3 or 4 cake depending on the sizes. So if I put in 12, then it has to be 12 and 8 on one side, then 10 and 10 on the other side. And I can also fit in cake into this layer. I can fit in cake into this layer. This is about 8 inches tall in itself. This is about 8 inches tall or 6 inches. So if I have shorter cakes, I can put them here. I can also adjust this. I can adjust this so that this can take more cakes. I put my margarines inside this tray. This can take like 20, 25. I can put some here, and I still have the window part where I can put things. So it's always like I have to arrange the food we have in the house so that my cakes can also fit in. Some days I have a lot of work, some other days it's just fine. So, and this bottom I also put in some more margarine there. Then my milk are always here. This is some of my buttercream. I put them at the lower part of the fridge. So that is how. Then the good thing is this fridge has a control here. So if I'm putting cake, this is the recommended. For instance, when I'm putting cake, I put it in something like this, especially if it's fondant cake. If it's buttercream cake, then maybe like something like that. So I just keep regulating this, which is sometimes not good for the food we have in the house. So sometimes I just, depending on the food we have in the house, I dem the consequences and I put it in the recommended. Hopefully when I bring it out, I make sure that the room is cool so that the sweating is not bad. The good thing is when my cake sweat, whatever it is, they're going to dry out. That's what I believe. If I have space, sometimes I put the cakes in the box, then put it in the fridge. So that is how I use my own fridge. It's always a struggle, managing the fridge for my cakes and for the household items. Sometimes when it's a lot of cake work, I even have to remove this tray so that this bottom part can also take some cake. So when I remove this one, this plate also becomes tall. So we're going to have this height. I'm going to have this height when I remove this tray. So it gives more room. So I can have 1, 2, 3. So it depends on how much cake I have. I just keep, adjusting it like that. So now I'm going to show you the new fridge I got. For this new fridge, it is all freezer. Both fridge are Frigidaire, by the way. It's this brand, and I don't think brand is an issue in Canada. I do not think brand is an issue. I feel most brands are good enough. It's just about the size, what you need. It's not really a brand issue. So this one is taller than my own fridge, but it's not as wide. That's the first thing. It's taller, but it's not as wide. And this is an all freezer. I'll talk about that later. This is an all freezer. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So in this case, I have just one control, which is this one. That's the only control I have. I have just one control, which is a very big disadvantage for me. You have cold, recommended, coldest. And because it's a freezer, the recommended is like freezer. Then the coldest is like crazy cold. So I usually will put it in just cold. That's like the minimum. But that minimum is not so good I do not think it's good enough for my baked cake. I would have wanted my baked cake to be in freezer mode and main cake in fridge mode. So when I don't have decorated cake, I increase it. When I have decorated cake, I have to bring it down so that my cakes are not too cold. In fact, if it's too cold, the customer cannot even cut through easily when it's freezer level cold. So that's one disadvantage. If I was going to choose again, I would advise that you go for the one that has a freezer hob and a fridge down. But this is big. Let's see how many cake pan this can take. One is not as wide as you can see as the other fridge. They can only this can take 4 conveniently. That's the maximum. But of course, I have more layers and all of that. This can take 4 conveniently. Unlike the other one that was able to take 12. The other one, this one can't take 12. If this one is taking 112, hardly would I have 2 more space if I put in 112. Okay, 12 and 210. That's what it can take. So that one is wider, which I like, but then this is not bad. So why did I now get this when I know that the one I was using at home was a lot better? Then I'll talk about that. So the big question is, why did I buy the freezer when I just explained that the one that has the freezer hob and the fridge down is better? So when I wanted to get the fridge, I talked to a few Instagram bakers that I've been following for a while, and I've seen their fridges in their posts, maybe on their stories, and I asked them, okay, what's the name of your fridge? How is it? Blah blah blah. And they were like, the first person I talked to said she had this all frost-free freezer, and it's even temperature. She talked about it. I'm like, frost free freezer. In my head, frost free, I was thinking it meant when I bring my cake out, it will not frost. It will not have those eyes, you know, those, it like the meaning I attached to frost free was very wrong. That's the problem. Let me just put it like that. So I was thinking frost free mean I won't see those when you bring something out of the fridge, or when you keep something in the fridge, you won't see the ice forming around what you have. And I thought that would be an advantage for my cakes. That means when I bring it out, maybe it will not sweat. That was what I was thinking. So the frost free was just what I was big on. Oh, it's frost free. That means when my cake come out, it will not sweat, which I assume other bakers who recommended it. If it was not serving them, they won't recommend it. So that was what I did. Okay, I asked the second baker. She also mentioned the same, almost the same fridge, just that the size, the same brand, the same fridge, just that the size was different from a second baker, and they have been here for a while. So I just felt, oh, for two bakers to have recommended a frost-free freezer, which is I can regulate, blah blah blah, I just felt it was going to be fine. So I just went to the store and just got it. And I just got it. So do I regret it? Not really. This is still going to serve. It's serving. It's not bad. But if I was going to reverse or do this again, so for you that have not gotten the fridge, I think the best fridge for you would be one. I would recommend that you look for a fridge that, if possible, go with cake boards. Go with 10 inches cake boards, so that you can see that this fridge has to take at least 4 10 inches cakes for each layers. At least 4. Then the freezer fridge parts will also make sense. That's my take. That's what I think. How much did the fridge cost? It costed about $900 without tax. $900 Canadian dollars without tax. I got it from Costco, and I'll put in the caption the name of the brand, the price, and everything. I got it on Costco. In fact, this fridge was what made me get my Costco membership. So I got it on Costco. So if I'll buy another fridge now, maybe in the bigger space, I'll definitely be buying an all fridge. So this is going to serve the purpose of all freezer, where I can put my my butter, anything that needs to be in the freezer, my baked cakes, while the second fridge will now be an all fridge for decorated cakes. So when I think about it that way, I feel okay, it's still fine. I'll just keep using it like that till it's not bad, guys. It's not bad. I put it in the lower, and I find myself having to control temperature a lot. So when there's a decorated cake in the fridge, I bring it down a little bit. But when it's all, like now that I don't have any decorated cake, I increase it so that I'm sure that the cake in the fridge is gonna last. Because with the other one, I can freeze cake for up to 3 weeks. I can bake my cake in batch, freeze everything for up to 3 weeks. I just pick it. I bake 7 and 6. So when a customer come, I have those 3 flavors. My regular flavors in 7 and 6. I'll just pick them. I don't have to keep baking afresh with the freezer. But I find myself being careful of baking a lot with this one. I don't know, but then it's okay. So that is everything I want to share about getting a fridge. If this has helped, kindly like, drop a comment, and what again should you drop? Recommend this page to other baker friends that you have. Thank you. God bless you. See you some other time. Bye bye.